Because, see, the elites have decided they still want to be able to own their own guns. So they want it nebulous enough where, look, I'm not going to live as a slave, okay? I'm not going to live so a bunch of criminal Kinley Madoff types can sit there and rob me blind because they think I'm stupid. And I'll tell you, it's a godsend that Robert Byrd went ahead and finally went to hell because I don't like to see anybody die, but this will throw a monkey wrench into their total private Federal Reserve takeover of the entire economy, which even the Washington Post admits, but in a good way, they say, is what is in the financial reform bill. Oh, you want to get the Federal Reserve back for stealing trillions, not saying where it went. Well, here, let's just give them total control over every other area of the economy, not just banking. Yes, and then the article admits $600 trillion in derivatives. Many experts we have on say it was 1.5 quadrillion a year ago, that it's now 2,000 trillion. That's quadrillion. It used to be hard to say the billion word. I'd be talking about billions and say millions. It was thousands, consequently millions, consequently billions, consequently trillions, consequently quadrillions, and then quadrillions, 2 quadrillion. Yeah, we're going to be like Zimbabwe, ladies and gentlemen, and then the government will still perch up there as our savior, and the dim-eyed, floor-eyed, brain-damaged public will lick the boots of the new messianic Republican leader lining up for the next 2 years. This Republican court sold out the Second Amendment. Today, we've got witnesses who've been down at the G20/G8 takeover of Toronto that cost $1.2 billion for the 3-day event. And we've caught the police in Canada, very near Toronto, in Ottawa, in Montebello, a suburb of Ottawa, staging attacks on their own officers. We've caught police in Seattle setting fire to their trash cans and things, posing as anarchists. We've caught them in Italy. We've caught them in Greece. We've caught them in England, in London. The list just goes on. And I do have some reports here. I've got one out of CTV News, national television, where it just describes how it's very suspicious. And a lot of people are saying they believe it was provocateur. Burn a few cars. Then instead of the G20 getting $1.2 billion in security in the next city, they'll get $2 billion. Burn a couple more cars, get $3 billion. And then they use that to militarize and federalize and privatize, internationalize the local police. Wherever the bankers go, the exact same phenomenon is carried out. This is as staged and as fake as Elena Kagan wearing lipstick and earrings. Elena Kagan in drag, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I just can't handle it anymore. Oh, boy. I mean, these people are criminals. They're coming for our guns. They're coming for our private property. They've already destroyed the dollar. The country's dead already financially unless we reverse this system. I told you a decade ago when they started selling these derivatives that it was designed to implode our economy and bring down the nation, because I'd seen it done in Latin America, I'd seen it done in Africa, I'd seen it done in Asia. We know what these derivatives do. We know what the IMF and World Bank does. And I had all these economists on over the years, George Humphrey and Tarpley and Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. I mean, Humphrey going back 12 years ago talking about derivatives, but they really were just at that point making the change. They had some forms of them, but not as 100% fraudulent as they are now. I mean, they're more than 100%. I mean, they're not just fraudulent; they're destructively fraudulent. They're acidic. They're explosive. They're black holes designed to destroy economies. And now it's all over the news. The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the London Telegraph, all announcing top economists, financial analysts saying we're in a depression. Well, a depression is 3/4 of sustained recession with an above 20% unemployment rate. That's one of the classic benchmarks. So the media lies, the government lies and says we have a 9.8. My friends, every private analyst, every private group that looks at this says 22 to 25, okay? It's probably about 23 to 24. But regardless, it's in the low 20s, okay? That is a depression. And here is the New York Times today, Paul Krugman. The third depression is the headline. We are now, I fear, in the early stages of a third depression. It will probably look more like the long depression than the much more severe Great Depression. But the cost to the world economy and all, to millions of lives blighted by the absence of jobs, will nonetheless be immense. And I agree with Krugman. Let's hope it's a Japanese-style long depression that they've had since the late 80s. Let's hope that it is something similar to what we've seen in Japan in the last 20 years. Let's hope it's just a long, sustained degeneration, because a full-on total collapse will be explosive. And that is unfortunately what is starting to shape up. I hope this is the case, and a lot of evidence shows it tending towards this, because the country was so wealthy, there is so much still private property. It'll take a long time for the government to steal it all and give it to offshore banks. But you can better believe things are going to be a lot worse for all Americans from here on out. Because just like Greece, we are run by criminals, the same crooks. And we are not saying no to the tyranny like Iceland. We are not saying no to the tyranny like other nations have done. We are going straight down. It's like we have bowling ball, cement shoes, and the American people are sitting on the dock. There's 100-foot deep water right off the dock, and we're putting on huge lead cannonball shoes. And I'm saying, look, you don't want to jump in the water. I mean, you really want to take those shoes off. It's dangerous to be on a dock wearing 50-pound lead shoes, 50 pounds apiece. If you fall in the water, you're going to shoot to the bottom. You are going to die. Do not put those on. Stop it. Stop it. World government's bad. Letting foreign banks take over and run things is bad. These people are crooks. Madoff was one of their top minions. Look out. Look out. You're like, I'll show you, conspiracy theorist, as you put the lead shoes on and jump in the water. Here's a better analogy. It's like a long dock out in the middle of a frigid lake 100 feet deep. And we've watched all these third world countries be held down and have the globalists fit the bowling ball, cannonball, lead weight shoes on them and then throw them off the dock. And then now the same bankers have walked up to us and invited us out on the dock in 1913. In the last 97 years, it's been the long walk out to the end of the dock. And now with the October takeover and the trillion stolen, they fitted the bowling balls, lead weights onto our shoes. And now they've got us stood up on the edge of the dock. And we can see bubbles coming up from the last countries thrown into the frigid, icy water. And I'm on the shore with a bullhorn saying, no, no, don't, struggle, fight back, don't let them throw you over. And the government looks at you and says, be trendy, be cool. I don't want to have to call you a racist. I don't want to have to call you a terrorist. And the American people are looking at the bankers saying, throw me in then. In fact, can I lick your boots first? And the banker's like, sure, go ahead and lick my boots a little before I shove you into the water. And I'm going to shove your children in, too. You're like, oh, thank you, government. Thank you. I'm so domesticated. I love everything you do to me. It's so much fun. Oh, thank you. Why does this have to happen? Why do we have to be ruled by crooks and scam artists and fraudsters? Why are we letting them openly train the police to take on gun owners and landowners? Why? Why are we so pathetic? Because from the time of being children, set in front of the television to crap our diapers, the American people have been drinking sodium fluoride and eating GMO food and being injected full of mercury and viruses and everything else that's in the vaccines. And we have been taught to value football and baseball and dramas and sitcoms and Hollywood. And we've been caught to act like little children and to giggle and laugh and go to the bar every night and get drunk and never have a care in the world. We're not serious. Our ancestors gave us milk and honey. Our ancestors gave us a promised land. Our ancestors gave us the Gutenberg press and private property and liberty and free men owning arms, and now we have squandered it all away. We have sold our birthright for a bowl of soup that the New World Order has poisoned. We have given it all away in fraud.